Hey everybody and welcome to my channel. First off, if you're new here, hi, I'm Jessica. I'm a mum of one to a little boy called George. He's 2 years old and I like to post motherhood and lifestyle content. I also love to post cleaning content. So if that's the kind of thing that you're into, please hit that subscribe button because I'm trying to post more regularly. And if you're already a subscriber, hi, thank you so much for coming back and checking out one of my videos. I know I haven't posted anything in quite some time. I think it's been 2 weeks since I last posted, and then before that it was like another 2 weeks, and there's no excuses for it really other than I've just been feeling a bit unmotivated and a bit down, but not sad, just like lacking motivation and energy. And I really think it is down to the current situation we're all in. So many people that I've spoken to also feel the same, and then for some reason this morning I just woke up and I wanted to film. I have always got the want to film things, like the night before I'm like, right, I'm gonna get up tomorrow and I'm gonna film something, I'm gonna vlog or whatever. And then the following morning I wake up, George has had me up in the night, or he's woken up really early and I'm really tired and exhausted, and I'm just like, no, I have no motivation to do it. But I want to come on today and film a video. I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. I feel like I've had this burst of energy and I don't know where it's come from. I'm also filming another video this afternoon that I've all planned out and ready to go, so I've got no excuse not to film it. So yeah, if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. And if you're new here, then please hit that subscribe button because I would love to have you. And yeah, let's get into today's video. So today's video then is going to be me talking to you about things that I wish I knew when I was going to be having a C-section. Now, like I said, I have a 2-year-old and he was born premature. I've said this in so many videos, but I'm going to say it again. I'm not going to go into my birth story too much because it's quite lengthy. So what I will do is I'll put a little like time thing up here, and I'll put the links to the video down below. So if you want to go and check that video out, you can do. But I was the sort of person that throughout my pregnancy, I just thought I was going to have a really easy, smooth birth. And I think most people think that with their first babies, or most people think that if they haven't had some kind of traumatic event or problem in their birth. So I thought everything was going smoothly, and then at 33 weeks my waters just suddenly broke and we went to the hospital, and it turned out that I was having a baby. And when we was at the hospital, it was really planned to go ahead to be a really natural birth. They had induced me, so we were just waiting for the contractions to start. They were monitoring me in hospital, obviously because my waters had gone and how early I was, so they didn't send me home. I know of lots of people, if your waters break, they can send you home and then you can go back a bit later on when your pregnancy has progressed a bit further. But with myself, we stayed in the hospital to see if the pregnancy was going to progress, and it didn't really. However, when you are in labour, you are like hooked up to some machines and it measures the baby's heart rate, and this very alarming noise kept going off every few minutes or so, and it was actually the baby's heart rate that kept dropping. So in the end they whisked me off for an emergency C-section. It was under general anaesthetic, so I had no idea what was going on. Even when I woke up I was a bit hazed and confused, and I just suddenly had this baby. So this video I want to talk to you about then is things that I wish I knew before having a cesarean, because obviously, like I said, I thought I was going to have a really smooth pregnancy and birth, and obviously it didn't turn out that way, and I had done no research whatsoever on cesarean sections. However, looking back now, I wish I had done my research because there are so many things I would have known or liked to have known once I'd actually had the cesarean. So this is a video if you are currently pregnant or you're just interested to know what it's like after you've had a cesarean. But if you are pregnant and it's your first baby or whatever baby it is, and you have had like a really smooth sailing pregnancy beforehand, or maybe now you've got a cesarean booked in, I would definitely recommend doing some research. So watch this video and you can find out some of the things, what it's like after you've had a cesarean. So the first one then is, it is a massive surgery. Now, so many people just think that it's a little cut in my tummy and this baby just magically pops out, but it is a huge surgery. And although it's quite quick, I think my partner said once they'd taken me off into the surgical room, I was out, or sorry, the baby was out within like 10 minutes, but then I was in there for like a further hour to 2 hours. Obviously there are complications that can happen when you are in surgery. Luckily I didn't have any complications, but it's obviously still a big surgery. You're cutting through so many different layers, skin, fat, muscles, organs, just moving things out the way until that baby comes out. And then obviously they then have to stitch all of those back up individually again. So I think a lot of people don't actually realize how big of a surgery it is. And that leads me on to my next point about how sore and delicate the scar area will be. Obviously, when I woke up, it was so painful, and obviously I'd done no research, so I didn't know how incredibly painful it was going to be. And not just to sit up, but it was painful to do anything. I mean, everything. I couldn't sit up properly without it hurting. I had to have a cushion by my side, like on my scar all the time. I couldn't sneeze. I couldn't cough. Coughing was so difficult. Even things like laughing was just really, really painful. But something that did take the pressure off was having a pillow constantly on my scar, so whenever I was going to cough or laugh or whatever, just putting that on there. And bending over slightly really helped as well. I'm not sure why, but maybe just taking some of the strain of the scar, I guess. But having that pillow really definitely did help. Another thing that I couldn't do easily was walk, and especially after you've had the surgery. I mean, with lots of surgeries, you spend most of the time in bed and you recover, but I've just had this tiny, gorgeous newborn baby in a different room. He'd gone off to intensive care, so I couldn't really just lay in my bed. I had to get up and go and see him. So I did try to walk to begin with, and it was so painful. I was walking over hunched over, and I just couldn't do it. So I got a wheelchair, which I would definitely recommend if you are in hospital, if you have a baby in intensive care. Don't try to overdo it. Don't think I've got to do this. Take all the help you can. So get a wheelchair to whisk you around to the ward where your baby is, and just get someone else to help you, because that really did help me. Just walking and sitting up and all those things I mentioned are incredibly painful, and eventually it does wear off, but you do have to take it easy for the first few weeks. So like I said then, accepting help and not overdoing it, they tie really well with each other. So when you have had a baby, you automatically feel like that you are responsible for this little tiny human being, and you have got to do everything you can to basically be Superman. And that is not what is expected of you. That's not what you should do, although I did feel like that as well. So when you're in the hospital, you want to be doing everything for yourself. I wanted to be stood up really quickly and walking around. I wanted to be round there holding my baby. I wanted to be expressing. I wanted to be changing his bum. And then obviously he was in intensive care for a few more weeks, but I came home. Then when I was home, I wanted to be doing the housework. I wanted to be being really productive. I wanted to be up at the hospital every day. I needed to go to the shops and buy everything for, well, like food for the house. I needed to go to the baby stores because we didn't obviously have anything when he was born. You just get this will in your brain where you just go into overdrive mode and you want to be doing everything. Don't do that. Accept all the help that you have around you, whether it is your partner, whether it's family. The nurses at the hospital are incredible, the midwives. There's so much help out there for you that can look after your home, the baby. You just need to be making sure that you take time for yourself. So whether that is your partner goes shopping for you, or he does the housework for you just while you get a little bit of rest. I know it's difficult sometimes to accept help, especially when you want to be doing everything yourself, but it is definitely recommended to get some help. And if you get help as well and you're not overdoing it and you're resting, that scar is going to heal so much more quicker than if you was doing everything yourself. So another thing then that I wish I knew, but I kind of did know but not to the extent of it, was that you can't drive after you've had a C-section. And I thought it was like, what, 2 weeks maybe you couldn't drive, but it's actually 6 weeks you're not allowed to drive. I think it's something to do with your scar. It could rupture, things could come out, you could get infected. So obviously if you was to put too much pressure on a brake, if you was to have an accident or the seat belt, you could really, really damage your scar and really, really hurt yourself. So yeah, like I said, I thought it was like 2 weeks. It was actually 6 weeks, which is over a month. And I was really lucky. My partner, he had 6 weeks paternity leave because my little boy was in intensive care. They were really good with him. They gave him compassionate leave for those 2 weeks that he was in intensive care. He then had 2 weeks annual leave and then 2 weeks paternity leave. So I was so lucky to have him around, and lucky that he could drive as well. So he would drive to the shops and do all the food shopping. He would drive us up to the hospital every single day and back again once he went to see our little boy George. He drove to all the baby stores. I couldn't imagine what it would be like if you didn't have a partner that could drive or didn't have someone else that you know could drive. I don't know how I would have done things. I mean, obviously we went to the hospital every single day to see George, and we would have had to get public transport. And again, when you've had painful surgery and serious surgery, you're not going to be wanting to be walking hunched over on public transport to go and see your baby. And I know so many people don't have that option, so I am so lucky that I have my partner there who could drive for me. But if you know someone that drives, like a friend or a parent, maybe just talk to them about, obviously you're going into labour and C-section could be a possibility for you. Sometimes, like I said, these things just got your birth plans go out the window. So would they be able to be around, to be on standby, to be your driver? Because yeah, you can't be driving until at least after 6 weeks has passed. Now, another one is something that I didn't realise until after I had had the cesarean, but because I didn't give birth, this might sound really stupid, but because I didn't give birth naturally, I thought I wasn't going to bleed. I know how silly that sounds, but I bled so much, and I would definitely recommend, because obviously you have to wear these massive, basically nappies once you've given birth, like giant maternity pads, but obviously you've got then the added extra of having that really painful scar there, so you can't really just wear normal underwear, because where the line of the underwear is, it goes basically just on your bikini line where the scar is. So I would definitely recommend buying beforehand, maybe to go in your hospital bag, some really big granny pants, because I am telling you, they will be the best thing you have ever worn in your life. And even if you don't have a C-section, you don't have to wear them. If you do have a C-section, they're going to be there in your bag ready, because they're so big, nothing is rubbing up against your scar, it's not going to be painful, and they're also really good for putting in the adult nappies basically, or the maternity pads, because you will bleed for about 6 to 8, well, I bled for about 6 to 8 weeks afterwards, and it was basically like just having a heavy period for about 8 weeks, which was just wonderful. So the next thing then that I want to tell you guys is that it's okay to be disappointed and sad. Now, I know so many people, just as I did, they have birth plans before they go into labour. They spend most of their pregnancy planning how they want their perfect birth, and mine was, I really just wanted to have my partner there, and I wanted to have a water birth because I just heard that they'd be really relaxing and good for pain. I am someone that is really rubbish with dealing with pain, so I thought if I had a water birth, it would just, like, you know, when you have like period cramps and you have a nice bath, I just automatically thought if I had a water birth, it would take a bit the edge off, and I was really desperate to have that. And when my waters broke and they told me that I was going to be having the baby and I wouldn't be able to have that water birth anymore, I was really, really upset. I was devastated, I would say. I cried for a while, and it's completely okay and normal to feel like that, because you have been carrying around, you've been making this human inside of you, and all you want is a safe delivery for your child, but you want to sort of have it under the way that you want it. Obviously, I couldn't have the water birth for the safety of the baby, and I completely get that now. Looking back, I'm so glad that everything that I had, I'm glad I had it, because he came out so healthy and safe, and so did I. I wouldn't have wanted to put him in harm in any way, but it's completely normal to feel upset and to feel sad if you don't get the thing that you want. It's just normal, and talk to someone if you're feeling down. I remember I was feeling really upset that he was born early. I thought it was my fault that I couldn't breastfeed either. I felt really guilty about all of this, and because he was in intensive care, and obviously if your baby's not in intensive care, there are people that you can talk to. The health visitor there is to check up on you. You have midwife appointments after you've had the baby to check on your well-being and your welfare. So if you are feeling sad or depressed or guilty about anything, then speak up and talk to someone, because there are so many people there that can talk to you. I spoke to so many health visitors and midwives that just made me feel so much better about the situation. And looking back now, I'm so glad that I did everything the way that it happened, because, you know, it could have gone wrong if not. So I'm so glad I listened to all the doctors and the nurses and their advice. Now, my last tip then for you is, if you are currently pregnant, please do some research on cesareans. If you have, that is great. Like I said at the beginning, I did no research whatsoever. I did so much research on normal vaginal births. I did so much research on birthing like plans. I did so much research on hospitals and birthing units, but I did zero research on cesareans, on surgery, on recovery. So I feel like when I woke up on those first few days after the cesarean, I just wasn't prepared. Everything was really unexpected. So I would definitely recommend, if you're pregnant now, if it's your first or your second or whatever, and if you haven't had a cesarean in the past, I would definitely recommend just doing some research, because you just never know what could happen when you are in labour. It could go one way or it could go completely the other way. So definitely do some research just to not catch you out. And then if you have had a cesarean, you wake up, then you know what is going to be heading your way. So yeah, that's all of the tips then that I would recommend you do before having a cesarean. They're all of the things I wish I knew before having my C-section, and if I was to have a future cesarean, although I know a lot of the things I've already had, I would probably do extra research again, because the cesarean I had was an emergency, it was unexpected. If I was to have another baby in the future and it was a planned cesarean, I could probably do a bit more of a different type of research, because I could be awake in my cesarean, and I have no idea what that's like. But yeah, they're all the things I wish I knew. So if any of you guys have actually had cesareans, and whether it was under general anaesthetic or you was awake, leave me a comment down below to let me know if I missed anything out, or if there's anything that you guys particularly experienced after having your surgery. And because if other mums are on here that are looking for some advice or some research, then they can scroll through the comments and they can see other people's advice as well. But yeah, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. Like I said at the beginning, I'm so sorry that I haven't filmed anything in a few weeks. If you are watching this, if anyone's watching this, but I am trying to get back on top of things, so please hit that subscribe button. Please like today's video if you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment down below to say hi, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Thank you, bye.
That my heart just can't ignore, that I've never felt before. And if you go, I wanna go there with you.